I can't hear you that well.
Welcome to the session.
Thank you.
So are we ready to begin? Ladies, we have
who's actually speaking first?
It could be either of you. Do you have any preferences?
You can go ahead, Stacy.
Would you like to start?
I'm whichever you prefer.
So
Go ahead, Stacy.
Going first, Stacy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, that's great.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so welcome both of you to this very beautiful session on personal transformation for leadership excellence. We will start this session parallel 117 with listening to Stacy Ashley. Stacy has experience of over 30 years and has helped thousands to develop their leadership competence, confidence, credibility. She's an author of 2 books on leadership, and she's featured in The Age, the Sydney Morning Herald, and many other magazines which go around the world. She typically speaks at conferences, runs workshops, consults, and among her many awards, the latest one is the Most Influential Woman in Executive Coaching 2020 Australia. Congratulations, Stacey. That's some fantastic work that you've put in. We are waiting to hear your thoughts on personal transformation for leadership excellence.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm super excited to be here. I've got lots of background noise happening, actually. I beg your pardon? I've just got lots of noise coming through. I think a lot of people are not on mute or something. Okay, not to worry. Leadership for me is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. I love this quote from Sheryl Sandberg, and I completely agree. I remember early in my career, I was super excited because I landed a role with a large multinational manufacturing company, and it was my first leadership role. I had 9 people reporting to me, and I was going to be working for the CFO. And I thought, what an amazing opportunity to learn as a leader and see someone really in action. Now, my second day in that role was also my birthday. And I was asked to come in, an hour early because we had a long day, big day. It was the end of month and I was working in finance. And so I said, sure, let's do that. And I worked and I worked and I worked all day, task to task to task. No big picture, just do this, then do this. And I did. I missed my birthday dinner and that set the scene for that role. My leader was dictatorial, tyrannical, territorial, and was very clear that I needed to stay in my box and not do anything that required initiative or vision or the creation of opportunity. I learned how not to be a leader. My next role, well, actually, let's fast forward about 10 years. I'd had a few different leaders, and then I got to work with someone really special, someone who was recruited as an executive into the organisation that I was working with in telecommunications. Now, I had at this stage a really large team of my own, a few hundred people. And I was going to be reporting to this brand new CIO. Now, the thing is that when he actually joined the company, his role had changed and he was no longer a member of the executive team. He was no longer going to be reporting to the MD because there had been a restructure. And he missed out on his seat at the exec table, which you know, for many people would have been a real challenge, and I'm sure was for him. But the thing that was most remarkable is that every single day, despite the change in his role, he showed up as a leader. And he strived to be better than the day before. That to me was leadership in action, and the impact that that had, well, I still feel it today, and it's a long time ago, trust me. I think that leaders create more leaders. They have a primary responsibility to create more leaders. And the measure for me of leadership excellence is how they do that and how well they do that. Many people feel like they're a leader because they get a role or a title. But for me, leadership is about a practice. It's a practice of leadership. It's creating the opportunity for others to choose to follow you, to be inspired by you, to learn from you, to be encouraged, challenged, to have that opportunity to realize their potential. And so I think every day as a leader, you make an impact, and it's up to you what kind of impact you choose to have. And so I think it's such an important thing for us all as leaders, you know, to consider your practice of leadership. John F. Kennedy said that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. And I completely agree with this. I believe that as leaders, we need to continue learning so that we always have something to offer the people that we serve, the people who choose to follow us. So today what I wanted to do is I wanted to share 5 tips for creating personal transformation for leadership excellence and for creating more leaders. The very first thing is that first you must lead yourself. And I guess a great analogy is you wouldn't go to a personal trainer who didn't look after their own body. So as a leader, who am I going to choose to follow? I'm going to choose to follow a leader who is first leading themselves. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, as a leader, it is a learning journey, and we need to, all of us, to face up. We need to face up to ourselves. We need to hold the mirror up. We need to have a look, and we need to say, what do I like? And what maybe don't I like? What's the opportunity here for me? You need to know yourself. You need to be aware. And I think that, you know, there's so much research on the importance of self-awareness, particularly in the space of, you know, emotional intelligence and social influence and those sorts of things, which, you know, are attributes of great leadership. We need to face up to ourselves. Tip number 3 is that we need to show up. So now that we have insight to self, now that we're choosing to first lead ourselves, we need to show up every day at our best, whatever that is, with our attributes and our strengths and our presence. Number 4 is that we need to step up. So that's about taking our leadership to the next level, whatever that may be for each individual. So we face up to ourselves, we show up at our best, and then we ask more of ourselves. So we learn and we grow again, so that we've always got something to offer. So really what I'm saying is first lead yourself, create self-awareness, self-management, self-development. And the 5th tip is always be a leader. Leadership is a state of being. It's not just something that I put on. It's not a mask that I use. It's how I am. And so we need to step into the being of leadership, you know, to recognize that leadership is something that we know, that we do, and that we be every single day. You know, we have to set the bar higher for ourselves, strive, you know, always look for what else, what more, how can I make a difference? And how can I do that by being a leader, by role modeling leadership. I think one of the things for me that's so key to the creation of more leaders is that we need to show them what leadership looks like. We can't just tell people, we need to show them this is what leadership looks like. So if you want to create more leaders, if you want to have leadership excellence, then you need to ask more of yourself and you need to undertake that personal transformation, which is first lead yourself, face up, show up, step up, and be a leader. Set your own bar higher. And remember that leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Those have so many points right over there to kind of think about. Leadership, or many times for many of us, leadership is all about telling people what to do. And we fail very often to check whether we are living that leadership, whether we are doing those things that we want others to do. I think that was a beautiful reminder. Thank you so much, Stacey.
My pleasure.
It's now my pleasure to introduce you to the second speaker of today's session, Ilka Chavez. She's a #1 international bestseller author and a fervent leader with an extensive track record for helping leaders, communities, and organizations reach their highest potential. She has spoken on many stages nationally and internationally and is the president of Corporate Gold, that is Global Organization Leadership Development Company, LLC, a leadership consultant, a leadership and certified emotional mastery coach, and an inspirational speaker. Her slogan is learn it, live it, lead it. Ilka, we're waiting to listen to your thoughts on personal transformation for leadership excellence.
Good morning, everyone. It's morning for me. It's afternoon for you, right?
Yes, it is.
It's such an honor and a pleasure to be invited to this platform to talk about personal transformation through leadership and really looking for leadership excellence. I want to just share a little bit of background about myself. I'm originally from Panama, which is in Central America. I moved from Panama to the United States at age 15. Ooh. So about transformation and shock and being placed in somewhere. And learning leadership skills very early and really understanding that whole transformational piece that occurs when you move from one place to the other, when the cultures are totally different. I'll tell you a little story that I experienced at age 15. It was the first time that I experienced racism. I was walking in an area, I came to the United States in the 1980s, and they said, oh, this is America, the land of the free, right? So I was walking in an area and coming back with my sister, they started throwing bottles at me. I went home and I told my uncle and my cousin, I went to this area, but we didn't run because we were totally like, this shouldn't be happening. They said, you shouldn't go in that area. And one of the things they, because this is the land of the free, right? They said, you shouldn't go in that area. And I said, isn't this America, the land of the free? So that was my question. But at that point, I had a decision to make. I had the decision to make that whether that was going to make me bitter or better. Was it truly going to change who I was from my inner core? I'm here today because I decided to have that experience make me better and not change who I am. That was one of the first lessons as I reflected on this topic that I learned about leadership. That leadership and transformation is a decision. It's a personal decision that you have to make for yourself. No one can do that for you. So you have to decide daily, are the experiences you're going through going to make you bitter or better? That's number one thing I want to share with you today. Today, I will talk to you, I actually will give you 5 points. One of the things I wanted to tell you, my next biggest impact with leadership transformation, and I love butterflies. I'm always talking about being in the chrysalis and changing in from the caterpillar to the butterfly. So about 6 years ago, that was my next biggest impact. Like Stacy, I too was working myself to that, saving everyone, community, work, home, everything. And somewhere along the way, I lost myself. I was leading everything except Ilka, right? And when you get to that point, something has to happen, and it's never good. No, nothing never happens to transform and go through that change. It has to be something impactful. That impactful thing for me was actually three things, and it all happened at the same time. The dissolution of my marriage of 27 years, diagnosed with a cancer that's very rare, a stomach cancer, and questioning, was my career choice correct? This was after serving for 4 major cabinet members, of working one of the largest bureaucracies in the world, being an elected official. So what I'm telling you, it comes from experience. But these things happen. And I tell you this, it's not to feel sorry for me, but to let you know that these things happen for a reason. When something impactful, you have to go inside. Go inside as a leader and say, what is going on? What is the change that I need to make? Because the transformation to leadership and excellence starts with you as the leader. At that point, I could have crashed. I could have said, oh, my world is falling apart. I could have gone back to what was comfortable. I could have remained stuck. I didn't. And again, I tell you, I'm here today because I did not. I chose to face the transformation with the pain, with the crying, all of that happened. This is the short version of the story. All of those things happened, but I had to face the fact that it was time to go to another level. As leaders, one of the things that you need to know is part of excellence is being better yesterday than you were today and better tomorrow than you were today. It's continuous till you die. Yes, till you die, it's continuous. Your excellence, you have to be better. It's like quality improvement. You plan, you do, you study, you act, and you start that process all over again every day in every relationship, in the way that you're carrying yourself. It's continuous. So the next thing that I learned during that particular thing was I questioned, was I honoring my values? Was I honoring the values that my parents instill in me? So leadership starts from when you were a little child. And I realized that although I walked in integrity, I swayed, I moved away from my leadership values, from who I was. And I had to awaken, and I said, you know what, this time I'm gonna anchor on my values. I needed to learn them, memorize them, but I decided what are the top 5 or 6 values that I'm going to walk with, that I'm going to use to make decisions, that I'm going to use to continually walk in excellence. And I memorized those, and those were respect, integrity, generosity, humility or honesty, trust, and servitude. And I actually came up with an acronym, it's RIGHTS. So no, I don't have to forget them. So I encourage each of you to think about your values, memorize them, and every time you make decisions, go against those, check against those values. And if they do not align to your values, be okay and say, I'm walking in excellence and I will stand by my values, even if it means losing my job, even if it means losing money. You have to stand by your value. That's where the transformative piece occurs in leadership. That's where you walk in excellence. Number 3 is you have to know who you are. If you're walking around with a mask pretending to be someone, I'll give you a point. If you have to show up at work and pretend to be someone, I'm dressed up, but I had no problem showing up with a t-shirt here too. But I figured I'll represent you all well. But if you have to wear a mask and change who you are from the office to your home, Houston, you have a problem. So you have to know who you are at every time. I was awakened to that. This is not who I am. So I tease people and I tell them, you know, everyone knows Ilka gives heart-to-heart hugs. And those who are watching that may know me will tell you, I meet you, I'm going to give you a heart-to-heart hug. Even if you're the president of a country, I will give you a heart-to-heart hug. That is who I am. I cannot change that. So you have to know who you are. You decide to be excellent. You know who you are. You ensure you know your values. That's number 3. I have 2 more to share with you. You have to know where you are in the process. Be willing to learn. Be willing to be teachable. That's so important. I don't care if you are the VP, the chief CFO, CEO, be always open to learn. Remain humble. Be willing, you know, I tell my team all the time, be willing to mop the floor and talk to POTUS. That's the President of the United States. Everything within that is your job. This is how we begin to grow leaders and let everyone see that they're a leader from where they are at. I may not know the technique to mop a floor, but they are masters at it. So I can learn how to do that from someone else. That's leading down and leading up. The next point I wanted to share with you in terms of knowing who you are, the most important piece to really seal your walking in excellence is having accountability and sustainability. Who will hold you accountable to say, for example, Stacy, you know you have outgrown that circle. It's time to move. But no, Stacy might be sitting in the circle because she feels powerful. She's the smartest person in the room, right? But is that serving you walking in excellence? Yes, I'm speaking to all the CEOs, including presidents of countries. Are you walking in excellence? Who is holding you accountable? Who is going to sustain your growth at level 3? And who is going to take you to level 4? Who will continually, because you have to continue growing as a leader. During this whole experience, one of the things I learned is I needed to inspire my tribe. I needed to inspire my children. My children are my tribe. I have 2 children. They're now 30 and 24 almost. And I needed to inspire them, but it wasn't just them. It was about everybody around me. How do you inspire them? So I wrote this book called What Leaders Say and Do, How to Inspire Your Tribe about 3 years ago. And you see it has a little chess board there because leadership is about playing chess, not checkers, right? You have to be strategic. You have to watch how you're carrying yourself. Are you walking in excellence? Are you transforming? Let them see you transform. Be authentic. Let them know that, hey, I'm growing too. You're growing, I'm growing, grow together. Isn't that amazing? So I just wanted to share this story with you all on how I took within myself my personal transformation into walking and leading in excellence. And I share with you the last points. Again, it's you have to decide. It's a decision that only you can make. Number 2 is know your values. Number 3 is know who you are. Number 4 is know where you are. And number 5 is sustainability and accountability. Thank you very much for listening to me, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you both of you. I think, you know, I walked into this room thinking, yeah, I mean, we're going to be discussing leadership. And now I'm feeling, gosh, leadership is not easy at all, is it? It's something that you have to keep working on. So, Mike, I have a question for you while I wait for some more questions from the audience. How do you get this working, for example, in an organization when you have to build second level leaderships? Is there always a threat to yourself where you know, your second level leaders may become better than you? Is there a kind of threat? Is that why we don't like to develop more leaders?
I can go on that one. So I have a philosophy where for leadership, and even as a coach, one of the things I tell my clients and the people that respond to me, my goal is I feel successful when you surpass me. I want you to surpass me. And when you lead with that mentality, you don't have to worry. It's all about the ego. If the ego takes over, you will always keep people underneath you. So it's all about really knowing that nothing you do is about you. It's about rising by lifting each other.
Right. And I think Stacy said that as much. She said, leaders build more leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd just add to that. I think that, yeah, there's a chance that people will, surpass you and thrive and, realize their potential, which is going to be different to yours. And that's amazing. But the other thing is, if you don't develop the people around you, then you're stuck as well, because there's no one to come in and actually do what you're doing so that you can then elevate and grow and do something else. So I think that there's benefits for all of us. If, I really don't feel that we're at a point in the world where we go, no, we've got enough leaders now. Don't grow any more leaders. I think there's plenty of leadership opportunity for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I think that, as I said, leaders have a clear responsibility to actually pass on their learning, their wisdom, their leadership lessons far more proactively perhaps than happens kind of naturally.
Yes.
I think we just need to see more of that, and we need to equip leaders with the skills to actually develop their leaders as well.
Absolutely.
And Stacy, that is exactly why my slogan is learn it, live it, and lead it. Pass it on. That's
Beautiful.
exactly right.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. I think that's been really a good thought, for everyone who's been listening. And God knows we really need good leaders in the world right now. Thank you both for being here. We are honored to also confer upon you an award each. This award that you are going to be getting is called the Iconic Woman Creating a Better World for All. So thank you both for doing what you are doing. It is very important and it's making a difference to the world. Congratulations on your award, and thank you so much for being part of WEF Bangalore 2020 Global Digital Summit.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure. And just so everyone knows, I'm going to pop a couple of resources into the feed. So watch out for those.
Sure. Looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Stacy, do I need to help you?
No,
You just
good.
have to press this red button called leave. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, Cuckoo.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, Rakhi. Rakhi, can you hear us? Hi, Rakhi. Can you hear us, Rakhi? Rakhi, please try your audio, Rakhi. Rakhi? Please try your audio. Rakhi, would you like to log out? Rakhi, can you hear us? Rakhi, hi. Cuckoo, are you here?
Yep.
I think we just wait a minute for Rakhi to log.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Hello, Archana. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Cuckoo.
Thank
Have you
you.
also been watching all the other sessions?
I watched a few, not too many. I
Yeah.
did watch a few. Saturday, Sundays get a little busy, and then there's too much of this computer space.
Right.
So yes, I would say I've been through quite a few,
Great.
7, 8 of them.
Yeah.
I will catch one or two more
I think
by
it's
the
really
rest of
wonderful,
the.
the kind of things that you're getting to hear, and so many people. I mean, it's
Yes,
wonderful.
yeah. I heard the one on the values for success.
Right.
I loved that one. Really, really. Must write to that lady. It was really good.
Hi, Rakhi. Are you able to hear us now, Rakhi? So, Cuckoo, will you be able to go first in this session?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think I am scheduled to go first.
Yes, so that Rakhi will maybe take a little more time to get
Sure,
on.
sure. I can do that.
All right, great. So it's, I think we can start off then. I'd like to start off by welcoming both of you and then taking a little time to introduce you, Cuckoo, first as our first speaker.
Sure.
So welcome, and this is the session that we're going to have on personal transformation for leadership excellence. Wishing to introduce Cuckoo Singh, who has been a founder, member, and principal consultant of several leadership development consultancies, focusing on executive coaching, leadership, diversity, and inclusion. Her current focus is on working with organizations to build women leadership pipelines. She works with senior managements to evolve the diversity business cases, identify high potential women at all levels, and create a sustainable platform for their career advancement to leadership positions. One of the projects that she and her company are engaged in are preparing women for board positions. Cuckoo works with a number of NGOs which are women centric and have an agenda of economic and personal upliftment of its members. Thank you so much for being here with us, Cuckoo, and really looking forward to hearing from your experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you to the committee, to the hosts, to Archana, to Rakhi, and everybody who's going to be listening. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. I think this is my third or the fourth time that I have been on these platforms, and it's always a great pleasure to interact with everybody. Okay, so the topic is personal transformation for leadership excellence. I have about 35 years of corporate experience, both sides, as an employee, as an entrepreneur, and now as a consultant to many organizations. So some of what I'm going to say will be more personal from my own experience rather than very scientific, backed by leadership books, etc. So I believe that leadership, personal excellence is a continuous journey. And it is the core, absolutely the core of leadership development. We call it the tattva of leadership development. And tattva is a Sanskrit word, also the name of my organization, which means the core. Because we say that your own being is at the center of all development. So that is a belief that we strongly believe. Therefore, personal transformation absolutely sits in with this belief. I think leadership is all about inspiring. It's all about influencing. It's all about engaging. So I like to ask everybody that have you been deeply inspired by people who may talk very well, maybe very, very well dressed, etc., but they are not in congruence with their words, with their actions, and with their beliefs and their thoughts. So is that a deep impact that we make on leadership? Probably no. Leadership, as I understand it, the definition in New Age leadership is whole people for the well-being of the whole system. It's a big definition. So when we start with the whole people, and that means us. So leadership transformation, personal transformation can't be far away. I have to be whole myself to be able to cascade or ripple impact for the whole system. The system could be your teams, your department, your organization, your country, the world, and today I think the world. That's the power of the cascade. But it has to be first whole within. You cannot give to others. Therefore, the whole piece is very, very important. What does wholesomeness mean? It means me coming from a space where I'm aware of my attitudes, my beliefs. I cannot give to you what I don't have. If I don't have compassion, if I don't have generosity, I don't have appreciation, I'm not aware of my biases, I'm prejudiced, how can I be compassionate to you? How can I appreciate you? How can I ever let you take a risk? How can I encourage innovation? I can't do it. So leadership becomes meaningless over there. So it becomes absolutely critical that the wholesomeness piece is kept very much intact. If I whip myself, I will continue to whip others. That's the philosophy of life, whether we like it or we don't like it. So all the leadership programs, when you attend, people ask you, they say, you know what? I came here to learn leadership, and leadership I thought was about other people. We were going to learn on how to manage my juniors, how to do this and how to do that. But all I have done for probably the first 3 months is look at myself, my assessments, my 360 degrees. Yes, that is the way. The way out is the way in. Therefore, personal transformation, personal growth becomes such an important and such a critical factor. I think just like a tree, if you have to nourish it, you have to work on the roots. Personal transformation is a lot about working on our own roots. It's about working on our, I say this again and again, beliefs, paradigms, my biases, conscious, unconscious, my habits. I need to work on these so that I can cascade this whole thing, whole people for the well-being of the whole system. Otherwise, it becomes quite fruitless. So a couple of years ago, we had this wonderful book, Good to Great, and it had level 5 leadership. Rakhi, you would have definitely read that. It had this level 5 leadership. The interesting part about that book was, it didn't talk of strategy. It divided leaders into 5 levels. Level 5 was the absolute at the top. There was nothing like decision-making, strategy, which they talked about. The focus was on things like, are you compassionate? Are you humble? Humility? Do you have passion, but not for ego, but passion for the bigger purpose? When things go well, do you look outside and say, my team did it? And when things go wrong, do I look inside and I say, hey, what did I not do that my team was not able to deliver? Now, I think we all have to ask ourselves, are we ready for this kind of a leadership without working on our own selves? Can we really get there? Because this means I have to come from a space where I'm willing to develop my juniors in a way that they could be better than me. I'm able to give more freedom. I'm able to take many, many more risks. How many of us are going to be able to do that? Most of the time, we're so frightened. We're only worried about safeguarding our own interests. So personal transformation to me, having now been in the field of leadership for 30 years, is the only thing leadership is about. And it continues till the cows come home. It just continue and continue and continue. Spiritually, they say that we operate at 2 levels. We operate at the higher level and the lower level. Now, unfortunately, large number of time we are operating at this lower level. Ego, one-upmanship, what's in it for me? I'm not saying we don't have to do that. I think when we talk of personal transformation, we are talking of moving to the higher level. We are talking of us getting to a space where those level 5 leadership qualities we can imbibe. Again, I'm saying it's a long journey. And one of the other beautiful things about it is that leadership is often compared to a candle. Now, this is my most important point I want to make. It's compared to a candle. Unlike the past leadership, The new age leadership is like a candle, which used to be like a torch. Me, powerful, strong, there. Today we say candle. The biggest distinct factor between a candle and a torch is that a candle has the capacity to light. Do you as a leader have the capacity, the power in you to be able to have 100 more leaders? Even if you are not there, there are going to be so many more leaders that it doesn't matter. Andhera to hoega and it will never get dark. How can I go there without personal transformation? So if I want to be a candle, I need to move on the foundation of personal transformation. The way out is the way in. Difficult? Just when we think we know it all, the rules change. Let's look at what's happened with COVID. Everything has changed. And for me, being in the leadership space, the biggest change I have seen is on the word called empathy. I remember over my long-lasting 30 years career, 35 to be precise, a lot of eyebrows were raised on what has empathy got to do with leadership and what has empathy got to do with corporates. Today, you can go to any webinar, you can attend 1 million HR summits. They're all saying the word is empathy. Thank God it's come out of the closet. Now we all have to go back to the drawing board. We need to relearn this. We need to relook at this. So this is the magic of personal transformation. So I think right at the end, I think I've run out of my time also. I would like to say, way out is the way in. And ending on a note of namaste, the divine in me connects with the divine in you, which is to me the highest level of where leadership can go. And this needs, I may have done leadership for 30 years, I'm not there. It's a continuous journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The inner journey is as important as the outer journey. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Welcome back, Rakhi. I hope, could you please unmute and try your audio and see if it's okay?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Super. All right. Yeah, I was just trying to be...
I'm going to take 1 minute to introduce you and then,
Sure.
the floor is going to be yours. So Rakhi has had an illustrious career spanning 22 years in human resources management. In her current role, Rakhi heads the people function for Kearney India, one of the world's leading consulting firms. She was awarded the Woman Super Achiever Award by the World HRD Congress in 2016, Most Influential HR Leader in 2017, Exceptional Woman of Excellence by Women Economic Forum in 2017. She holds an MBA in Human Resources, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and is also a certified NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Practitioner, and an Inner Shift life coach from ICF. My goodness. So this is going to be another journey inside, I think. Wish you all the best. Rakhi, take it off.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry about the initial trouble. I was trying to be like my smart teenage daughter and, do some tech stuff with the Bluetooth headphones, which I failed miserably, and she refused to help me. So I'm back to the speaker. So I hope you can hear me. Good old age stuff works very well for us. So, Kuku, thank you. Firstly, I really enjoyed your talk, and I think it resonates with a lot of what I was going to talk about as well. I think transformation to me is really a journey, like she said, right? It's a step-by-step process. It's not something which happens overnight. It's not like a coup that, I will get up tomorrow morning, I'm going to be this transformed great person. Transformation very simply is a process on which you embark with the right intent and with the mindset that I need to bring about this transformation for a better impact, for better output, not just for myself, but as a leader for the people who are my so-called, followers, right? Because leadership without followers means nothing, right? So I'm just going to talk about 3 basics, very simple steps that I think are very, very important in embarking on this journey. Nothing that people haven't really heard about, but I've put a very simple structure to it. It's the SFC structure, as I call it. First, really, like Kuku also mentioned, and Stacey and Elka had mentioned in the earlier talk as well, is really when it's personal, it really has to start with self, right? So the first is really your self-introspection. Second is about focus. And the third is about cultivating compassion. And I'll talk a little bit about, all three of them. All of us have this great external lens, right? It's like these great, smartphones that we have, 20 megapixel external camera, great selfies, outdoors, great colors and so on, photographs. And when you do a selfie, it's like, 5 megapixel, bad lighting, you have to work on it and so on. I think it's very, very important for all of us to really look at ourselves as that camera and to turn that entire lens around and make our internal lens a lot more stronger, a lot more sharper, so that we are able to actually see what are the areas where, as leaders, we are doing well. So, I build and I, strengthen it and I continue working on it. What are the areas where I still have gaps, where people's perception about me is different from what I perceive about myself? And third, I think is the most important, which is really understanding the blind spots. I think a lot of us tend to go through our life without knowing the blind spots, right? Which I tell a lot of my junior colleagues, right? It's like going for this fancy dinner, having a splotch of food on your shirt, and nobody's bothering to tell you that, what, you just dirtied your shirt, and you feel like, I had this great time and I'm looking so soft. But it's a blind spot, right? I mean, there is something which is there. You didn't ask people did not share it with you. You've continued with it for, most part of your life. So I think as leaders, for us to be aware of our blind spots and work on them and have a stronger inner lens is very, very critical. And I think that's really the starting journey. Once we're able to open up ourselves and see that these are the areas that I really need to now step up on, I think it's important to have what we call a growth mindset, right? Growth mindset could be anything. It could be working on your learning journey, right? What is it that I need to adapt and learn? Okay. Do I have the courage to take the feedback that people have given to me and work on it? Right. So a growth mindset is very, very critical for folks to, move forward and for them to really use what they've got from their self-introspection. And very simple tips and tricks that we use in the corporate sector. You solicit feedback from your juniors, right? Like, Ilka was saying, leading up and leading down. I will always get feedback from my seniors about, what I've done or not done, but it's very, very evaluative. I think it's very important to have a non-evaluative setup where your juniors feel they can come up to you, share feedback, and that will actually help you continue with your learning journey and, transforming yourself as a leader. The second that I want to talk about is really the focus, right? Simple stuff we were taught when we were kids. There's a blank paper. If you want to see it burn, take a magnifying glass and, focus with the sunlight coming in, the paper will start burning, right? You've got the magnifying glass because you've now done self-introspection. Now what you need to do is just focus on removing the distractions that are now coming in your way as a leader. Because honestly, a lot of things that got us here are not going to get us to the next level. Right? Our strengths that got us, through our 10th and 12th and our graduation, first 3 years of our working, first 10 years, might or might not necessarily be relevant or even be appropriate for where we want to go, right? So for us to move to the next level, there's a very simple performance equation, right? I'm sure, you would also know about it, which is performance is always equal to potential minus the interferences, right? Minus the distractions. And the distractions we're talking about are not just external distractions, my work day, people keep pinging me, they eat into my time. External distractions are easier to solve, right? A lot of methodologies which are available for people. For instance, the whole Ohio method, right? I touch my mails, only handle it once, see your mails, let them go, don't keep going back to them again and again, right? Time management, using the tools that are available to us, or, simple things like identifying the zones, especially now when all of us are working from home. As a leader, there are a lot of things that are kind of eating into your time. You identify your, high activity zones, do all your strategic initiatives, your important calls, your crucial conversations in that time period, right? So external distractions, easy to solve. Internal distractions are the ones that are the most difficult to solve, right? And these are things like self-doubt, right? I got this great project. I don't know whether I'll be able to do it or not. Am I strong enough as a leader to be able to lead my team? Should I be taking the risk? Do I have the courage? And I think it's very important as a leader for us to bring down those internal distractions, because only when we bring down our internal, distractions will we be able to achieve our complete real potential, right? And when I lead by example, when I show my potential to my people, when I say, you know what, I can achieve this, I've overcome my internal barriers, people, my followers, my team, my juniors can see the real me. They are able to, step forward and move on. So focusing, like they say, be in the dance and be in the balcony, be in the moment, see what your teams are doing, but step back and also see, what is it that I'm really doing? Is this working or not working, right? And the third one, I think, very simply is what, Kuku was talking about, right? Cultivating compassion, right? Unfortunately, none of our school, colleges, none of the corporate sector really teaches you, very basic value of, compassion, of gratitude, of empathy, right? And thankfully, in the corporate sector now, there's a lot of talk about EQ, right? So for anybody to personally transform themselves, to become excellent as leaders or to show leadership excellence, I think it's very critical to cultivate emotional quotient, to connect with people on the humane level, right? Empathy in the simplest form is, sympathy in action, right? Where you're saying, I'm a part of this journey with you. I'm going to make sure that you're successful, and my success will be measured by how many other people I make successful as a leader, right? So it's really about, one, self-compassion as a leader, know where you were wrong, forgive yourself, identify, areas where you took courage, but you had failures, forgive yourself. So one is really self-compassion as a leader. And the second is really being compassionate to the people that you're working with, right? Especially in today's time and date where, people are already scared. People are losing their jobs. Your words need to be kinder. Your actions need to be gentler, and you need to be a lot more open to, helping people, grow and come out and talk about their personal challenges, right? So I think for me, those are the three critical steps, the first three steps. If we're able to take these first three steps, we personally transform ourselves anywhere we are in a journey of our career. And especially as leaders, it's very, very important to, keep increasing our internal lenses and saying, what is it that I could do better? How do I reduce these distractions? And how can I be more compassionate as a leader? So let me leave it at that.
Thank you. And I have one question, if you can hear me, is
Yeah.
one is, again, what I said to the other speakers in the previous session, it's really hard work to be a leader. So that's point one. And the other point which I'd like you to comment on is, where does a leader find the time to do all this? I mean, go internal, develop yourself as a person, handle business, handle the people around, I mean, how can this happen? And what is your experience in guiding leaders? How do you get them to sort of see or make their time for all this?
Yeah. I think, Archana, it's very important for leaders to know that they have to take out that time consciously in a structured way where they identify these areas that they need to work on, right? Otherwise, life moves on, right? We transition between roles at home, we transition between roles in the office, organization. But I think it's very important for leaders to actually identify some specific time that they want to use for their personal development. They need to structure and kind of almost be pedantic and calendarize it and say, what I'm going to spend in a particular week, I'm going to spend 2 hours or 1 hour to build my learning. I'm going to spend time networking with my peers. I'm going to spend time seeking feedback. So you have to consciously take out that time. Time in any case is not superfluous. It's limited, 24 hours. There's just so much we can do. And these days, in any case, all of us are trying to do just everything. But I think there's a conscious effort that needs to go into this. It has to be a structured approach. But like I said, if you have a growth mindset, you have to also be open to feedback. I think a lot of time, the writing's on the wall, people are giving feedback and leaders are not listening. So those are certain things you have to build them in. It doesn't come to you easily. It doesn't come to me easily. I have to budget in time. And as we are getting older, I'm not getting better at this. So I've realized that,
time management is a critical thing for us. And the better we are at it, the better we're able to kind of do all of the things in a small time that we have.
Thank you. Cuckoo, I'd like to hear from you. You're muted too.
All right, so I'm going to take slightly, because Rakhi's given this view, I'm going to give another view. I absolutely endorse what you said, but okay, I think I'll go slightly the spiritual route, because we are a spiritual organization. I think for me, the roots to fruits philosophy, the spiritual philosophy of roots to fruits, is something we hammer in strongly, whether it is executive coaching or it is personalized sessions, because we strongly believe, we means even spirituality, it's not mine, this thing, is that if you work on the roots, the fruits are a byproduct. So if I can work on some of my major pieces, which is, I think the whole piece, for me, the big pieces are bias. Half the time we are wasting time in organizations because people are unhappy because you said this, she said this. I think there's so much of distraction around that. So work on these. I absolutely endorse. We also have to do many 360-degree feedbacks. You have to do all the psychometric testing. EI is so critical. Let me have this whole sheet of mine in front of me, my windscreen, and let me work on that, but very lovingly, and with the thing that this is going to get me my result. Also, while time is very, very important, I believe, okay, Rakhi, I'm just going to say something which I believe there is no concept called time management. It is all about life management. So if you put your attention on the right things, you will manage your life. Time is a byproduct. Because I know you young people, oh my God, you all are running from helter. I mean, every person I'm having a coaching call with, we have conference calls happening till 11 in the night. We don't know what to do, especially the women. I mean, because they have house chores, this, that. It's a difficult time. I think we have to, beautifully said, have a growth mindset, put your priorities, have a vision for yourself, 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line. And as we go up the ladder, we should have not to-do lists rather than to-do lists. Keep your not to-do list in front of you all the time. I will not do this. Will not enter into my juniors' space. Galti, maximum they make a mistake, no? So I think for me, yes, almost in line with what she said, but I've gone under the roots. And she's given us Rakhi's told us what happens on the top. So that's my take on this.
Thank you both so much. I think, again, there's so much to think about, and really wonderful to have both of you here, and would love to, connect with you more as well later on. We are very, very honored to confer upon both of you an award each. It is called the Iconic Woman Creating a Better World for All Award. So
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing all that you're doing. It's very important and it's making a difference. So thanks so much for being part of the WEF Bangalore 2020 Global Digital Summit.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you, Rakhi. Pleasure meeting both of you.
Same here. Thank you so much, Cuckoo, and thank you so much, Archana. I really enjoyed our interaction, and I look forward to interacting with both of you, after the session as well. So thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.